Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal, and patch 11.15 is releasing oh so soon in less than 2 weeks if I'm not wrong by the time you're watching today's video. But this update features a variety of different content, most of which is focused on catching up. Whether you're looking to catch up and level new characters, gearing them out, and try to dive into Season 2 content on brand new ults, getting as much gear with a lot of the Warbound Veteran Track, Champion Track, and even Hero Track items, just outfitting them to the teeth as fast as possible. Though this season is not only going to be great for ults, but also catching up your main character, specifically finalizing that character with some of the best gear as they bring in one of the best additions they've ever added of any expansion, and that is this dinar token, or quote-unquote dinar token. Went by a bunch of different names in the previous patches, but essentially it's a currency that allows you to buy guaranteed items from the current raid tier. Items that can be upgraded all the way to the highest levels of Mythic. Whether you raid Mythic or not, this is an opportunity for so many players to get their hands on some of the best items, and it's actually coming out so soon as part of the 11.15 update, and I felt like not enough people are talking about this amazing feature. I thought it was worth making a whole video entirely about it and everything we know about it so far. So this is going to be everything you need to know regarding the Cartel chips coming out in the patch 11.15. As always, if you guys want to see more regular updates for War Within expansion, be sure to follow the channel and subscribe. But otherwise, let's dive right in. So for the video, I will try to refer to these as Cartel chips, but I may slip up and call them dinars by accident. Dinars is what we called these tokens back in Shadowlands, and that thing kind of stuck around because it was like a unique bit of currency that allowed you to get some catch-up gear. And then we had the quote-unquote dinars in Dragonflight, or at least a lot of people called them dinars instead of the bronze bullion. So if I'm swapping between Cartel chips or dinars, just know that I'm talking about the same item. Now, when are we getting this item with the patch 11.5? Because we do know that it's going to be arriving with this update. This item is planned, originally was planned to be pushed out during patch 11.1 as part of the progression with the renown track for Galagio, but this thing is meant to come out, looks like, in 11.15, which is out in about 2 weeks. Originally, it used to be tied as part of the unique renown, which normally kind of hard to find, but if you go to Liberation of Undermine, oh, it'll be right here, but it's not showed up on the PTR for one reason or another. But it'll be part of the Renown track 17 and 19 as part of the rewards for the Galagio from raiding within Season 2 content. So it was meant to be something that was going to be a catch-up element, and you would get only 2 of these things towards the tail end of the raid progression, which would allow players to go through all the other bonuses from damage and healing increases within raids to a variety of different mount rewards and cosmetic rewards, battle reses, upgraded battle reses, a bunch of little bonuses to make raiding just a little bit easier. However, they took it out right before 11.1 launched on PTR, but they did say it'll be arriving as part of the 11.15, which we haven't seen much about it over on PTR, but it wouldn't be the first time that they kind of kept certain things omitted or hidden for the PTR realms. Though we do know that they're going to be made available immediately at the same time for all players. It doesn't mean that it's going to be available day 1 of 11.15, but at some point they're just going to flip a switch and all players will get access to this currency instantly. So it means that there's probably going to be some kind of like a turn-in quest maybe, or like a simple weekly objective that you gotta maybe complete, or maybe you just talk to an NPC and they just reward you with one of these currency, or maybe it'll just appear in your currency tab instead, so you won't have to do anything about it. But we do know that they'll be extremely easy to achieve, and everybody will start getting them at the same time once at some point when 11.15 launches. Now, this currency of these chips can be used, the Cartel chips, to essentially purchase some of the best raid gear, just like they worked back in Shadowlands, back in Dragonflight. This currency is going to function exactly the same, which means that any item on any of these raid bosses can be purchased, I think besides tier tokens, but any of the weapon items, mount not included, weapons, trinkets, any of the other unique special items, all can be purchased over on the vendor, which includes rare items like Best in Slots, which is one of the best maces in the game, are insanely good for many strength classes, but also certain intellect classes like boomkits for instance, and it has an insane amounts of damage that it procs, basically becoming your on-use effect item. A lot of the other powerful weapons will be those that have additional shadow damage as part of their galley tech limited edition mechanics to him. But there's also such a variety of assortment of powerful trinkets that everybody has been looking out for, from the chrome bustable bomb suit, amazing for tanks but also really good in Mythic Plus content for additional survivability, Ayakazan, which is incredibly good, things like House of Cards, which is a sought after trinket by so many rogues, Unholy Death Knights, Arms Warriors, and any other classes in a 1.5 minute burst category. I think Windwalkers would be one of those included. Even something like Lock and Stock is pretty good, but Mr. Pick Me Up will be a much better option for many healers out there. And Mug's Moxie Jug is an insanely good intellect trinket with even reverb radio, recently buffed up by a decent bit. But we also have other rare items such as Test Pilot Go Pack, which can be kind of nice, especially for that instant mobility, but also the Jaster's Diamond, a ring with insane amount of stats on it. So you might want to start planning around which items you're going to be picking up once the dinar or the new chip token becomes available. And if you still have a couple of crafts ready, you might want to start angling some of those crafted items, like if you're planning to craft a weapon, but you're going to be picking up a weapon from the dinar token, it might be a good idea just to wait out until you can get your best slot and spend that craft on something else perhaps. And the best part is, all of these items were basically on its own renown track, or upgrade track rather. They all started out at like a base champ item level, but instead of going all the way to like 8 out of 8 champ track, it was their own track reward that basically allowed you to go from champion quality to all the way to the highest of mythic quality. So it was like a guarantee item that once you put enough resources and investment into, it was a guaranteed best in slot, max upgraded mythic item from the raid, which was insane. And those are the type of items that we can expect to achieve for every single player out there through this dinar or cartel chip catch-up method. So essentially you can guarantee your best in slot items from this rating tier in order to help you class play optimally, whether you're looking to raid or whether you're looking to participate in some of the more competitive PvE content like Mythic Plus dungeons. Now previously, for older expansions, there was a cap on how many of these tokens you can get. For Shadowlands Dinars, you could only get 3 of them, which was unfortunate. In Dragonflight, there was no cap on it, which was a pretty big change that many players enjoyed. And it looks like, based on early data mining, every item in the game has like an internal in-game string, a bit of code that we can derive some info from. And it looks like the Cartel chip does not have a cap, as in you could just get these things infinitely. It doesn't mean you'll be able to get a bunch of them day one. There'll likely be some sort of like a weekly bonus or bi-weekly bonus, kind of like how we get our sparks and crests, as well as the not crests, but rather the catalyst charges. We get catalyst charges every 2 weeks. We get a spark, a full spark every 2 weeks. So we'll likely be able to get these cartridge ships either weekly or every 2 weeks, or at some kind of a periodic table to it. But it does seem like these things won't have, at least right now, based on internal data mining, any kind of cap to them. So it's not like we can only have 8 of them and that's the only items that you can get, or 2, which was initially thought about when it comes to these ships. Initially they're part of the renown track and you would only get maximum 2 of them. But with them not really having a cap, this may mean that 11.15 might be kind of an insane patch when it comes to catching up all of your alts, especially if you're looking to get some of the best gear to participate in endgame season 2 content. And with the chips coming out sometime soon, the community has also got a lot of ideas as to how they could further improve the chips as well as their functionality as part of the 11.15 catch-up update. One of the things that we like about the chips generally is the fact that you can get gear from raid, some of the best in slot items. However, many players that also hope that they would add Mythic Plus gear to those vendors as well, so you can purchase those with chips also. I mean, don't get me wrong, Liberation of Undermind definitely has some of the strongest items out there, but trinkets such as the Signet of Priory, or even Tome of Light's Devotion, or even if you're a healer looking to do damage with Bursting Light Shard from Priory, are all extremely competitive items that many players do find as part of their like best in slot options when it comes to playing the character at the peak levels. And don't get me started on how many of my friends have been struggling to get the Improvised C4 Pacemaker for weeks now. So many of them have been trying it, whether it comes to endgame dungeons or trying to loot it from a great vault. But this is definitely one of the better stat-specific trinkets that you can obtain from the Mythic Plus season. And what if you're a mage who's just trying to get themselves Hyperthread wrist wraps at maximum item level? I mean, getting these on hero track is nice once you eventually do loot them, but it'd be very cool to be able to get a mage up and running, maybe let's say a brand new ult for the season, and not having to dive into billion Operation Mechagons just for a chance at these bracers, and instead being able to loot them with cartel chips would be kind of amazing. So many players are calling for them to potentially adjust chips to also not only allow you to get raid gear, which is expected, but also Mythic Plus gear, especially some of the most sought after items from the dungeons, which are part of certain classes' best in slot loadouts. Also, towards the tail end of Dragonflight, they also did have a specific vendors for these cartel chips. Once you bought up all of your best in slot gear for your character, you could continue to earn chips and then purchase cosmetics with them instead. Most of the times it was just cosmetics for the current raid tier or dungeon tier, maybe recolors of certain existing weapons that you could get for the season just so you can create your MOG and fill out your cosmetic collection, or potentially even mounts. Like there was a mount that was available, a Slang Cat mount during Shadowlands that players could potentially have a second time purchasing during end of Dragonflight. Some sort of a mount reward for those ships would also be kind of nice, like if you're just not trying to get end game gear for the season, but instead you would rather choose to have rewards. A lot of players also said they would like to see someone like that, like a vendor for cosmetics that you could exchange those ships towards if you're just looking to get a bunch of collectible items rather than seasonal gear. But for now, that is literally everything we know regarding the cartel chips, and hopefully Blizzard will give us some more additional information as to exactly when these items are going to be dropping for the patch 11.15 PTR, because so far this entire PTR cycle we haven't seen them, we haven't been able to test them out or anything like that. So hopefully they'll give us some additional information as to when these items are going to be dropping. Though they probably will be dropping around the same time they'll be doing some uncaps for Gilded Crest, which will be pretty amazing, or I guess all crests in general, for you to be able to upgrade your items super quickly, which will allow everybody to catch up their character and get them fully geared out within a very short period of time. Which I think is going to be very exciting if you're someone who's looking to finally dive into some of the Season 2 content and finally earn some of your seasonal collectibles. But with that, as always, I do want to thank all of you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did enjoy it or found it informative, go ahead and give it a like. I would very much appreciate it. Join our Discord community, probably the best place to keep up with all the newest updates regarding War Within Season 2 content. Also, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, which items you're probably going to be pick up first as soon as the chips become available. And as always, I'll see all of you guys in the next one.